everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. This is the last card. Well, maybe I'll do one more. Right now it's the last one that I have designed that I'm going to film of a little series that I'm doing. It doesn't have a name. We have started cutting paper. For those of you that have signed up for my Try It class, we've started cutting the paper for that. And it's a big job. So I wanted to, and as it stands now, you'll see on this card, we cut paper downstairs at my house. My studio is very small. So we cut it down in the dining room and the family room. And then depending on how big the class is, sometimes it takes all the tables that we have and still then a few passes. So once I move everything down, I don't like to bring it back up because you know how that is. Then it's never, whatever you need is not in the right space. So the embellishments and ribbon that I'm using on today's card are not new, but I did want to get some things filmed ahead of time before we really dig into it. We've only just started cutting the paper. So these would be done and then I could leave everything downstairs. So I have filmed two. One has posted. I just posted it while the other one was downloading, and then I'm going to get to this last one. I may do one more. So my goal is to show you as many new things as I can on a card and keep them quick and easy, partly so I can film them quickly and easy for you, but I want them to all have a little twist. So let's take a look at, this was the first one I did. It's upside down. So it's a sympathy card with the Everyday Skies paper and mixed labels. You would think I'd remember because I just did it, bundle. So there's that one. And then this one is, for those of you in Card Club, it is the Memorable Blooms, and it's your bonus set this month. By the time this posts, the one I'm doing now, it's probably too late to add this onto your order and get it as part of your club, but you can get it. You can see on this one, it's a sympathy card, so I wanted it, I like my cards to have substance, but it's hard on a sympathy card because you don't want it to be like out there, right? So it's just the dies, I just layered them. Then on this one, again, if you watch the video, it started out to be not a quick card, and then I realized what I was doing and I scaled it back. But this one has the dies from the Memorable Blooms run through with the folder that I'm going to use on today's card as well. So it kind of gives super simple card, but that kind of elevates the whole thing a little bit more. Then there's this one, and again, I think that probably this will have post after it's time to sign up for Card Club for January, but that's our Card Club for January, the first project. So for this one, remember it's celebration. Let me look at the card. There's nothing on the card that is in celebration, but for every $60, $120 you spend, every $300, there's all kinds of levels where you get products out of here, or you get more stuff, or you can join my team and you can get the Card Club videos free, and you can get my Try It class free. So what I am using is, let's do this one first because I know where it is. I'm using the Elements of Text, and they are an online exclusive. So as part of the online exclusives, there are a couple of different sets. This one, the Elements of Text, and you can see there's 3 word stamps, but you can't read them. They're just for background and then some splatters. And then there's also the Kiss of Texture stamp set. I don't have that one yet. Then there's some, I didn't even know the detailed succulents until I looked at this just a minute ago. And I can't tell you how many times I've looked at this stuff online, but I apparently missed that one. So I'm using the Elements of Text. And then out of this catalog, I'm going to use this giant Happy Birthday. It is one of my free gifts with purchase this month, so make sure you check out my levels because you could get this for free. I love when we have a big birthday. I love when we have a big word stamp. It makes it easy to do. So I have Peacock and Crumb Cake because this was the first card I did, actually. What happens is I create stuff and then it kind of gets buried, and so the last thing I create is often the first thing I film. So this one's been buried down there. Peacock and Crumb Cake. And when I did this one, I understood the assignment. As I progressed, I kind of forgot. So I have 2 inks, Peacock and Crumb Cake. And on this one here, you can see it's got the shimmer. I went ahead and did it because there was extra on my brush. When I did my card, I stamped on it wet. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, I haven't shimmered a card for a minute. Well, maybe I have. It just feels like it's been a hot minute because it's the holidays and I didn't work. So this is the board. This is Glycerin and Wink of Stella. And I have lots of videos. If you go to my website, on my blog, it'll have the link where you can find it. You just squeeze a little bit. And then this, I've been doing this coming up on a year. So I love to shimmer my paper because I was very sad when they took our shimmery cardstock away. So this just adds a little bit of shimmer, and this is the same block that I have not cleaned off, and the same brush that I've been using since I started doing this last spring. So here you can kind of see it maybe a little bit better even on the peacock than you could on the crumb cake. So it does dry where it appears dark. It will dry. That's just because it's wet. So when it is dry, hopefully you can see that. It just leaves the shimmer from the Wink of Stella. So we have that. And then I just leave it all in a little stack. And it's glycerin. So if it gets on your very dry hands from winter, it only helps. So I'm going to take this giant circle of words from the text one, and I'm going to stamp it in crumb cake. I thought about changing it. The crumb cake is very, very light. So I did consider changing it to a darker color, but I don't want to do it on this shimmer because the crumb cake works. It's just a little bit lighter than I thought it would be. These are red rubber, so you can press really hard, which is nice on these big stamps to make sure you get everywhere. Yeah, I pressed harder on that one so you can see it a little bit better than you could on my first one. The first one I didn't press that hard. So we have that nice little background. Then we'll switch to our pretty peacock. And I guess I did use my crumb cake again. That's what happens when you do these first. I'm going to do my happy birthday. And this one is not red rubber, so it'll make it easy for placement. I love the way that red rubber stamps, but I love the way that the photopolymer, you can see what you're doing. I'm going to pop this right over the top here. I'm not going to press this one as hard because I don't want to catch any of those edges. Isn't that pretty? And this, my other one, I pressed a little bit harder, so it's all solid. I don't mind it being like that because this has kind of a rustic, aged look to it, so it goes. Then I'm going to take this, is just long words. I'm just going to kind of add these to some edges. And also, it is... I don't mind if this is a little rustic and aged as well, so you don't have to stamp everywhere. So we have that kind of filled in. And then I did use the crumb cake again. Yeah, it's a crumb cake. I'm looking at it going, what color ink is on that? I don't clean my stuff after I create a card if I'm going to film with it because it seems like a waste of time. So I'm just going to kind of dab this around the edges. And on this, I'm not pressing hard. I might press a little bit harder over that because that's... So it's very subtle. I don't want it to be like, oh, there's stuff on the card. I just want a nice, subtle little touch. Then I'm going to take my paper trimmer. And this was a scrap piece of paper. Actually, you may have seen that in a video. But I don't want to waste it. So it was just the size that it was. I'm going to cut this just around my happy birthday. And I didn't measure. I just used the stamp as my size. It's a little bit closer. Oh, I'm glad this is the last thing I'm filming today. It's a little bit closer on this side. Sometimes you'll ask me for measurements, and if you see what I just did, it was scrap paper, and I just turned around the stamp. So I'm not going to go back and measure something that I didn't measure to start out with. Now, this is really the thing that does it for this card. And I used it, this is what I used on the window sheet in the other one that I showed you a bit earlier. It's the new plaster folder, and it's fabulous. So you can see right here it has canvas, and then it fades into the plaster. So I like to line mine up so it does get some of this canvas along the edge. So let me run this through my embossing machine. And look how fabulous it is, especially with that shimmer on it. It'd be good to do it with the toadstools as well. But see how that just kind of elevates the print that's behind, the shimmer that's on top. Super fun. And now I'm going to use, this is not new ribbon. It's been around for a minute, but it's in the annual catalog and you can find it online. It's the Peacock and Gold, and it matched this perfectly. So I'm going to pull this around here. And then I want my bow to be over here. Look how pretty that looks together. It just looks like it was meant to be. Originally this started out, so it did change a little bit. It started out and it was going to be a masculine card, but I really wanted to shimmer it. And then once it got shimmery, I'm like, we'll just put some gold ribbon on it and then we'll put some embellishments. It's no longer masculine. You could leave the shimmer off and go with a brown cord or something here, and then use some of the metallic embellishments if you want it for a guide card. So I want to make sure that my bow goes this direction, so I'm going to tie it that direction. If you tie it the other way, it's going to flip the other way, and I don't want it laying on top of my words. There's nothing that I didn't use any kind of adhesive to put this on here. If you want your ends to go that way, then tie your bow that direction, because it goes where you put it. And they do on my other card, but then I realized they were kind of covering this up. Then I'm going to take, almost done with this. So we're going to pull these ends off of the dimensionals. So it appears when I stick this on that I've covered up a lot of the ribbon, but remember it's on the inside too. So you get a little bit of that pretty on the inside. And this is why it doesn't matter, because I knew what size this is. I knew it fit. It just had to go in that corner. So the happy birthday is the right size. And then for the embellishments, those of you that are in, oh no, we didn't get these. We did the otters, but we didn't do these. I don't think we had these in Card Club, but these are the ones that go with the otters. So they're called Riverside Irregular Pearls, but they're in peacock and they have a little gold tinge to them. So they're perfect for this. So let's do 1, 2, 3. Simple card. This was the simplest. The sympathy one was simple too. My middle one, it ended up being simple. It took a little bit of a turn. So this card here doesn't have that extra shimmer on the peacock. This one does, because I wanted you to see it. And you can see it as it's starting to dry. It's just going to be shimmery. It won't have that darker tinge to it. So there you go. This will probably post over the weekend or the beginning of that middle week of January. So maybe I'll have something else before the Try It goes out. Maybe I won't. Those of you that are in Try It Club probably want me to go cut paper. But, you know, sometimes I have to stamp. So we'll see how we go with that. But until then, I'll catch you back here later. Bye.